Workers at Lucerne International in Auburn Hills, Michigan, quickly process a batch of car parts. But many of these parts that were made at one of their 8 factories in Asia are now subject to a range of tariffs that have been imposed with little warning. Long-term contracts with car makers means the company cannot pass on those costs. Mary Buchzeiger is the CEO of the company. She says the US does not have the capacity to make the parts locally.
Most of what we do, we cannot manufacture here in the US. So we've set up long-term supply chains where we manufacture globally. For example, we make all the hinges that go on the Jeep Wrangler. And they're all aluminum forged Class A hinges. There is no capacity here in the US to do that.
Buchzeiger says that even if they moved a factory to the US, it would take years to set up because of the complexity of the global supply chain.
I don't think the average American consumer understands the length of time of the supply chain for an in automotive, to make an automobile. And just to move one part out of that process could take up nine months to a year just to actually move it to a different production facility, let alone build a new production facility, staff the facility, get equipment in, get it up and running.
It's a similar scenario in nearby Northfield Township at CW Bearing, a Chinese company. Many of these bearing systems are used in the auto industry.
Then it's shipped up to next year in Saginaw, Michigan.
Jay Click, Vice President of North American Operations, says the company had been looking at efforts to increase production in the US. But he says they can't invest if the company is losing money because of tariffs.
To get to automotive, it takes 3 years to get to launch of a product. Meanwhile, and it's going to take money. It's going to take resources. It's going to take you're going to have to be financially stable to do that. We can't move it. We can't move the product to North America or the U.S. If we're financially strapped by tariffs. So it defeats. It really defeats what they're trying to achieve, I believe.
Lucerne International currently sells around $50 million of car parts a year. Buchzeiger had also considered opening a manufacturing plant in the US to lower its reliance on Asian imports. But that too is on hold as the tariffs eat away at company profits.
For now, workers here at Lucerne International are busy processing the latest batch of imports. Management say the tariffs have brought uncertainty to the US auto industry, and they fear it could have long-term consequences.
What it means for the US automotive industry is that we're going to start losing that bid for the work, global work. You're not going to just go, oh, okay, the tariffs are gone, well, we'll just pick it up and we'll put it back in the US. That doesn't happen. So once you lose a platform, that platform's gone for a minimum of 7 years. A minimum.
Both Lucerne International and CW Bearings hopes to earn exemptions from the tariffs. If the tariffs remain, they are concerned, not just for their business, but for the US auto industry as a whole. Dan Williams, CGTN, Auburn Hills, Michigan.